What's going on, everybody? We are back. This is our last video looking at some running back prospects. We've already gone through 15 of them. We're going through 5 more to bring us to 20. I'm joined by my father, Jeff. How's it going, Dad?
Hey, what's up, everybody?
We're looking at 5 more running backs. We're going to get right into it. Before we do, like the video, subscribe to the channel. We're pushing out content every day almost, definitely every week. And excited that we're 3 weeks away from the NFL draft. I'm kind of ready for it for sure. And then Dynasty rookie draft shortly after. But yeah, we're going to get into it with our first guy, a guy that we both really like that's getting a lot of buzz rising up the draft boards is Israel Abanikanda from Pittsburgh. He is 5'11", 215. He ran his 40, I believe, at his pro day, and it was a 4.41, which is crazy fast for a guy that's over 215. And again, I like looking these things up. And there's only been 23 guys that have played in the NFL at running back position that have weighed at least 215 or more and ran a 4.41 since 2000. So that's basically one every year, right? I mean, we're in 2023 now, so there's one guy average every year that comes out that is this big and can run a low 4.4. And there's good names in this list too. I mean, Isaiah Pacheco, who we know from last year, was on this list. Breece Hall was on this list. Jonathan Taylor, Saquon Barkley, Adrian Peterson, even Ryan Matthews was on this list. So there's a few guys that didn't do anything, but I mean, there's 6 guys right there that had significant fantasy impacts.
Seems like they all had 1,000 yards, so that's an impact.
Yeah. I mean, Breece Hall, Jonathan Taylor, Saquon Barkley, Adrian Peterson were maybe considered the best running backs at some time. I know Breece Hall's only been a rookie, but he was heading his way towards being the best fantasy running back, and Jonathan Taylor definitely was after his second year. Barkley was after his rookie year. Peterson's a Hall of Famer. So, this basically the size speed combination is exciting, and you can see it on the film. Dad, what did you think of Israel Abanikanda from Pittsburgh?
Yeah, just to backtrack a little bit, I know we're looking at supposedly the last 5 running backs on our list, but these guys, by far, they're not the bottom of the tier. So this guy, Israel Abanikanda, is, he's really, I like the way he ran the ball. He had over 1,400 yards with Pitt, carried the ball 240 times. He had a good 2021 season too. He's 650 yards, so obviously he's got speed. He hasn't caught the ball a whole lot, but 12 last year and 24 the year before, so he's not irrelevant in the passing game. He's a little taller, 5'11". I think running backs below 5'10" usually they seem a little more compact to the ground the way they run, but this guy looked the real deal. So
yeah, and again, size speed combination, like when we talk about, we're getting deep into these running backs, we're looking at 20 total. Like, there's not going to be 20 running backs that come out of this draft and are fantasy studs. So when you're looking for these late round guys, you're looking for something. What do they have that I can see playing out in the NFL? And his speed and his size, you can see it. He might be a bit of a project in terms of his running style. He was kind of and I kind of saw this with Pacheco last year, where he just runs so ferociously. And maybe if he's a little more patient, lets his block set up a little bit more, it might be more beneficial. Obviously, Pacheco had a good year, so that style can play, but it's the little nuances. It's not just fast or strong. That doesn't make you a good running back. It's kind of the nuances of your vision and your ability to kind of find that hole and be patient. All that stuff kind of comes together. So maybe he needs to work on that a bit, which is why he's more of probably a day 3 pick, maybe. Probably a day 3 pick, a 4th, 5th round pick or something. And there's a reason for that. If he had it all, he'd be a first rounder at Bijan. But these guys all have flaws. He did have 782 yards before contact, which is crazy. But not necessarily a good thing, because you want to see guys getting yards after contact. Like, you want to see them getting 780 yards before contact means there's a lot of holes you're running through. His speed obviously plays a part in that, because once he gets that second level, he can run past everybody. But yeah, I think he's out of the, these 5 and the previous 5, it's like him and Roshan Johnson are my top 2 out of these 5. And they're probably the two of maybe the 3 or 4 out of all 10 of these guys that I can see being drafted or should being drafted in Dynasty rookie drafts. Just for that potential. So yeah, just really, really special guy. And yeah, he's rising up the draft boards, I would say, right? You were saying NFL.com was talking about him recently.
Yeah, NFL.com has him ranked. Let me see. Sorry, he was pretty
highly ranked.
He's number 4 in running back. So he's
number 4.
Yeah. So after Bijan, Jahmyr Gibbs, Zach Evans of Mississippi, then Israel Abanikande. So
yeah.
But there was a bunch of guys right behind him: Chang, Charbonneau, Eric Gray, Tajon Spears. So, really close. So,
yeah. It just shows you basically, outside the consensus couple, everyone has their own opinions and stuff like that. I don't know if I've seen him that high, but another really good thing about him is that he's going to be drafted. He's going to be 20 years old, and that kind of plays into the whole, maybe he's a little bit of a 1-year project of learning the nuances as a running back. I don't know his history and his high school career or anything, but he's 20 years old. A team's they're gonna love that. A 20-year-old that runs a 4.41, that's 215 pounds and at 5'11", and they're gonna love all of that. And they're gonna say, we're gonna take this guy, and in a year or 2, he's gonna be our starting running back. So,
well, that's
look
funny.
out for him.
I'm sorry, you mentioned his high school. I don't mean to drag this on, but he was he was a New York. He played in New York, and he was ranked pretty high in the state of New York. He was also running track, a 100-meter dash for the New York Mayor's Cup race, and and he did pretty good in high school football. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see where it comes out, but definitely a guy to be looking at.
Yeah, for sure. Like you said, if NFL.com's ranking him number 4 overall, that puts him in the second round. If he goes there, he's easily, potentially a first round, late first round, early second round Dynasty rookie draft pick. For a guy that I think, and just watch his film, go throw on a couple games and you see it. It's not like he's a workout warrior. You see the home run speed and you see him just busting off long runs. So I'm excited for him. Really, really excited to see where he goes in 3 weeks. But we'll move on to the next guy, who's, again, all these guys are kind of all over the place in terms of their ranking, but it's Kenny McIntosh from Georgia. Couple things, notes about him. He's 6 foot 210. He ran a 4.62, so he's not super fast. But that's kind of the low 4.6s is kind of once you get past that, that's when teams are really going to start worrying about, does your speed play in the NFL? If you're still in the low 4.6s, they can work with it. But nothing jumps off But he had a lot of catches. He had 43 catches last year, and I think he could be a really good pass catcher. And to me, he looks really good in like the open field. Nothing there athletically, which makes sense, is why he's rated as low as he is, maybe in the top 15 or something. But I think his pass catching ability can play. He lined up as a receiver, I think, like 80 plus times. He looks really good in the open field. But he's not going to have great speed. He's not going to be a great pass blocker. He's not going to be elusive, you know. So I liked him. He's probably my second favorite out of these five that we've gone over. But what do you think about Kenny McIntosh?
Yeah, he's a senior, so it's kind of funny that he's actually played behind DeAndre Swift and James Cook. So he's again, he's not 4'6" is not great for a running back, but he seems to be excel in the pass catching game. He's an okay running back. So to me, just my opinion, I wouldn't be jumping off. He had some good highlights, so you can look at his highlights, but not overly impressive for me.
Yeah, someone's gonna like his receiving ability. Someone's definitely gonna like that. So that will come into play for sure. And he's number 2 on my list, but this group of 5 was definitely like you can start seeing like the teardrops and stuff of guys. Like the next 2 guys I wasn't too big on. Me personally, we'll get into one of them, which is Chris Rodriguez Jr. from Kentucky, 5'11", 224. So he's a big guy, and he's 4'5", which is good speed, especially for a guy that's 220 plus. He's just a big back, power back. He kind of has one speed. I don't know. Doesn't necessarily have great burst. He's a north-south guy. North-south guy that has above average speed for a power back, and he'll break arm tackles. But other than that, I mean, there's nothing super special in my opinion about him. But what do you think about Chris Rodriguez?
Yeah, I have a comp for him, Benny Snell. So Benny Snell of the Pittsburgh Steelers. So a thick guy. He's kind of a plow horse type guy, runs pretty, be able to pick up the tough yards and things like that. But, not great speed, or it's kind of, he doesn't have much of a running style. It's just kind of a one trick pony here.
Yeah, and I don't know. Again, nothing stood out. Nothing crazy athletic. He's not super creative on the second level. Like his change of direction isn't really good. I don't know. I forget how many. I didn't look up if he caught the ball that much, but if I remember correctly, it wasn't that much. Yeah, I mean, the guy that I just don't think we're going to be talking about during Dynasty rookie drafts. It's just we'll see where he goes, but
somebody to pay attention. Yeah, somebody to pay attention on waivers. If he doesn't get drafted, these are names of people you don't totally ignore. If they go through training camp and they make a team, and they're a team's 3rd or 4th running back, you need to pay attention to them. You need to know who these guys are.
Yeah, especially in deep leagues and stuff. So, and I kind of, feel the same about the next guy too, which is Cam Peoples from Appalachian State. A big, tall guy, 6'1", which is unusual for a running back, and you can see him. He's a tall runner for sure. 4.61 40, so not great speed. He was my least favorite out of all these guys. Just didn't see a game that's going to translate well to the NFL. Didn't catch passes, not athletic, wasn't elusive. Maybe if he gets on the outside, he can run well, or he has a little bit of power. But you can't rely on getting to the outside in the NFL like you can at Appalachian State, but not in the NFL. So not a whole lot for me here. I don't know what you think, Dad, about Cam Peoples.
Well, it's kind of just a repeat, echo what you say. There's just okay guy for Appalachian State, and how it equates to the NFL. I don't know if we see it very well. So that's about it.
Yeah, unfortunately, hopefully we prove this wrong, but again, you're looking for one thing. All these guys are flawed, all of them. Abanaconda's flawed. Roshan Johnson maybe has some flaws. Like everyone has flaws here, so you're just looking for all right, what's the thing that stands out to me?
Yeah, what can you get out of these guys?
Yeah, and are you just going to be able to find another guy in next year's draft to do exactly what Chris Rodriguez Jr. or Cam Peoples does, and probably, in my opinion. So, don't think these guys are going to be very relevant in the fantasy world. But maybe the next guy will be, which is our last guy actually, is Keaton Mitchell from East Carolina. Probably my third favorite after Abaniconda and McIntosh on this list. Another really small guy, 5'9", 184. He's blazing fast at 4.37. He's very similar to a guy we talked about last video. I mean, in terms of his size, it's like a Deuce Vaughn. Deuce Vaughn carried the load more at Kansas State, I believe. But Keaton Mitchell, what do you think about him, Dad?
Yeah, speed is the name of his game. He had quite a bit of usage there at East Carolina, in his 3 years there. Last year he had 1,450 yards, so every time he touched the ball, it was over 7 yards, and caught 27 passes. So get him the ball in space. This guy's going to make it. This guy's going to make it happen. So I think you've identified his 40 time of 4.37. That's really good for a running back. Of course, he's not very big, 5'9", 184. Not terrible, But I can see this guy end up being, a third round back. You get him the ball a few times in space, he's gonna make it happen.
Yeah, and again, someone's gonna like that speed, and a creative team is hopefully he goes to a creative team, and they're gonna use him hopefully very well. Where you don't want him carrying the ball between the tackles more than a few times a game, but get him the ball in space. Jet sweeps or screens or quarterback draw, not quarterback, but running back draws, and just where he can let his speed kind of take over. And for that reason, he's probably going to go a lot higher than a lot of these guys on this list, because someone's going to say, okay, we can use that in the fourth round of an NFL draft. He has something
use
that
speed.
Yeah, he has something special that not a lot of guys have, and that's running in the 4.3. So
God-given speed.
Yeah. So yeah, he's probably my third favorite on this list, but definitely Abaniconda is our favorite. I mean, we talked a lot about him, but for a good reason, I think. So keep an eye on that guy for sure.
Definitely.
And for whatever reason you do your Dynasty rookie drafts before the NFL draft, maybe take this guy in the third round or something, or late second, and just bank on him getting really high draft capital, because he's going to shoot up for sure. Shoot up the draft boards. But yeah, I think we're done. A little bit quicker video here, which makes sense. Gone through 20 running backs. We've gone through 20 receivers or 21 receivers, I think, and what was it, 12 or 15 quarterbacks, 12 quarterbacks.
Wow.
And yeah, we're just got our tight ends, and we're probably going to make it into one video because I want to start doing. I want to spend maybe the last 2 weeks before the draft, or last 10 days or so before the draft, kind of going over rookie mock drafts and how that changes from pre-draft to post-draft. And maybe talking about a little more in depth about a couple guys we really like and where we'd like to see them go. And we'd love to get you guys in on some of these rookie mock drafts that we do live. So join us when we go live, and we'll see you then. Dad, any last words about the running backs? We got tight ends next.
Boomer up, MFers.
Boomer up. So, yeah, we'll see you next week with some tight ends.